Holy shit, it feels good outside. I mean, it seriously feels like the first warm day after a winter. Like, there's a nice cool breeze, the sun is out. It's the end of July. Like, we shouldn't have weather like this. It should still be like surface of the sun hot. But it's not, so I'm out enjoying it. Alright, so obviously, as the title describes, this is essentially my review of the SmartMoto electronics block-off plates and O2 sensor plug. So my initial review, so my bike is a stock fuel map, stock air filter with a GPR aftermarket, basically slip-on exhaust. I haven't done anything else performance-wise to the bike. It's pretty much all stock. Installing the block-off plates and the O2 sensor block-off was essentially my preparation step to getting to the point where I could install performance stuff. I've been contemplating doing some ECU stuff so I can get my fan temperatures down, maybe do an actual fuel map, just to get essentially more. I really like to get a little bit more fuel economy out of this. I'm getting about 37 to 40 miles to a gallon, which is obviously not bad for something that's pretty much a sport bike. I'm not looking to do ridiculous stuff with it. I may do a track day or two in the future, so it doesn't really concern me having something that's a little less power per se, and something that's more or less tuned for what I actually use it for, which is my commuting and just, you know, going to the mountains and having a little bit of fun. So there's a couple stuff that I did want to cover for the review, and one of them was build quality. The parts that I received are excellent. The block-off plates are CNC milled aluminum. They look excellent. They fit excellent. I actually ended up leaving my valves in for the air injection system. There's a couple of places that suggest to take them out, just because, I mean, it really is just kind of wasted. There's no reason to keep them in. But I left mine in because I didn't really feel like having to store them somewhere. So you guys can feel free to do either one. The plug quality was excellent for the actual electronic sensors. I mean, it's an OEM style plug, and it wasn't just something that's like a sensor block off to where nothing can touch the sensor wires. It's an actual like resistor style plug. So it's actually set up so that it doesn't have the system throw codes when you remove those, which I mean, in my opinion, is what you were really all going for, is to not throw fault codes. The install was incredibly simple if you're a mechanically inclined individual. Even if you're not, if you guys follow the step-by-step process, you know, listed in that video, you guys can do it too. It's not hard. Now, I do want to mention that I had a couple steps that I had skipped because I didn't have those pieces installed on my bike, a couple of like fairing trim pieces. Don't freak out. Obviously, those are pieces you need to remove before you start removing the tank. And I mentioned that in the video itself. As for performance, it's marginal, really. There's not... The purpose of doing these plug systems and block-offs is to achieve a true air-to-fuel mixture ratio without any kind of a system injecting anything else into the mixture. Air injection systems, if you guys don't know what it is, it's essentially an emissions piece which is designed to inject air into your exhaust valves so that it helps give a cleaner outcome by emission standards, and it's technically supposed to help burn unburned fuel in the exhaust, which is where like the popping and stuff comes from. Mine already had it from doing the I did DIY block offs because I work at a fab shop, so I can pretty much make anything. So I still had popping in my system even though I switched to the real plates. That didn't really change much. I did get a marginal better difference. You know, there's less popping on deacceleration. The biggest concern that I had is when I'm at like a half throttle, like when the throttle is barely open or something like that, you know, it's not completely engaged. I get a little bit of popping that's kind of been fixed with the block-off setup. So if you guys are looking to get that really fixed, you're probably going to end up having to do some sort of a tune. Like I said, this is just my experience being in Georgia and how I usually ride it. The bike's got 15,000 miles on it, so that's just my 2 cents. As for the O2 sensor, the O2 sensor plug was excellent quality. It actually comes with a copper crush washer, which is awesome. Thank you, SmartMoto. That is a brilliant move. Some people don't do smart things like that. The sensor came unplugged, and everything went in really easy. There was nothing hard about it. And yet again, its purpose is to achieve a better air-to-fuel mixture ratio, because the O2 sensor in the FZ-09 is essentially part of the system for the fuel injection to read a certain value for that fuel-to-air mixture. So those are out, and like I said, the bike is marginally better in the sense of like no back popping and weird things, but your results definitely may vary. Now, the one question that I know a lot of you guys are asking is it worth it? Is it worth it purchasing block off plates, O2 sensor deletes, kickstand bypass switches? I mean, it's really kind of a personal preference. I knew I was going to do this at some point anyways, because of where I want to take my bike build. I will be doing a full custom exhaust at the shop. That's not going to be something that's just a regular slip-on. Most slip-on exhaust systems are actually designed for that particular model, or the piping is designed to fit that model. You know, the exhaust intake and combustion all has to be in a certain range of each other for it to all work, you know, and function how it's supposed to. So when you get a slip-on exhaust system, it's not just, you know, put together and made to fit. I mean, it's actually designed to run with your system. So being the fact that I'm going to make a custom one, once I've got the custom exhaust set up, I can then go do my tune without any of the air injection system or the O2 sensor getting in the way of doing the true mixture readouts. So for those of you who are looking to do anything beyond just a regular slip-on system, yes, do it 100%. If you're just going to put in a slip system and you get some experience with that back popping sound or any kind of weird gurglies, yes, do it for sure. If you put on a slip-on and it was perfectly tuned and perfectly fit for that year, make, model, and blah, 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 and you don't get any crazy stuff, you can do without it. Obviously, the engineers have to put it in for emission standards and, you know, performance standards as well. But the bike runs well without them, with, you know, the correct block-off stuff installed, and obviously you get the added benefit of having a true mixture. Overall, I'm really stoked with doing this SmartMoto stuff. I mean, you know, like I said, I was already going to have to do it anyways. It was a really easy install. I think my total elapsed time of actually doing the job was about an hour and a half. The video obviously is much shorter because, you know, I fast forwarded stuff and made sure that you guys aren't just bored watching me turn a screwdriver or some shit. But you'll look at about an hour and a half, possibly 2 hours if you've never gotten into the bike before. As I stated in the beginning of the install, definitely have your service manual handy. There's some information in there that'll tell you about, you know, torque specifics, whether or not your... Can I wheelie here? No tops? Yeah, wheelies are awesome. The service manual has a lot of information in it you guys definitely need to read through. It'll help you better understand your system, how all those sensors and all the electronics work together, and it'll just give you a much easier way to get in and out of your bike faster. Other than that, that's really all I've got to say. I mean, it's excellent product, excellent install. Everything's butter. The bike runs great. So if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them below. All the information to this product, the one that I particularly purchased, is in the link down in the description. And you guys can find all kinds of years, makes, and models at SmartMoto. I think it was smartmoto-electronics.com. So you guys take it easy.